Good evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. Soon after Hong Kong's handover to China, the government unveiled a number of ambitious plans. One project was to transform Northeast New Territories into Hong Kong's first post-handover new town. Another was the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge to link the city to the Pearl River's hinterland. But none of the projects have been completed. The most controversial is the 40-hectare West Kowloon Cultural District. In 1998, it was an empty plot. It still is. What happened here? West Kowloon on the shores of Victoria Harbour, a symbol of the city's hopes for a culture and tourism hub. 10 years, then another 10, proposal after proposal, the site remains under construction.
2, 1， 金橙一飛咧，代表住興趣已經係正式展開嘅。
We have waited so long. I hope we can have a better venue sooner.
Situ Centre is designed to be a world-class venue for Cantonese opera. It's supposed to be the first to be built in the West Kowloon Cultural District.
Nothing we can do to hurry it up. We're all eager to see it, surely.
Makeup room, audio and lighting equipment. We made many suggestions. I'd be lying if I said I'm not very eager.
It was said to be completed this year. Now it's said to be next year.
Lisa Wang chairs the Chinese Artists Association of Hong Kong. She's also a member of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. She says the delays in the West Kowloon Cultural District, plus dwindling venues for Cantonese opera, are making it hard for performers to survive.
Shanggong is regarded as Cantonese opera's most lucrative show. At least performers have salaries. So many actors' income derives from bamboo theater shows. If you don't speak out, people will ignore you. We have to be considerate and tolerant, but we also need to fight, right?
11 years ago, Lisa called a radio phone-in show featuring then Secretary for Home Affairs Patrick Ho to slam the government for neglecting Cantonese opera.
Scrapped and restarted. Thanks for giving us a chance to include Cantonese opera in the WKCD. It was not in the original plan.
Our broader vision is to cultivate Hong Kong's image as the Asian center of arts and culture.
Culture and art circles criticized the single bidding system and expensive canopy design in the government's first try for the WKCD. They were worried it'd become a real estate project.
Developing the West Kowloon Cultural District is a bold and visionary plan. Controversy is inevitable. Some people think it shouldn't be built by a single developer. If we cancel the canopy and start all over again, it'd be a major move.
One single developer. We doubt very much that whether a developer would truly respect arts and cultural district. We did a comedy, a political comedy, reflecting our views.
This play mocks the government's public consultation for the West Kowloon Cultural District. One scene shows somebody impersonating a phone recording machine in a consultation. The actor is Tanya Chan.
I wanted to illustrate that it is very difficult for the general public to say no to the government, but they have all kinds of ways to express support to the government. The government did a lot of public consultation, but most of the time they have already got some position.
我哋不得不接受公眾要求。
We have to accept there is a gap between public demand and market reality, so the government will not continue to develop West Kowloon based on the original procedures proposed.
嘅程序咧，繼續去推展西九。
They scrapped the decision and formed a consultative committee in 2006. Members of different sectors have a chance to join the consultative committee, and final reports was submitted to LegCo and the public. This is now, I think, still a very important foundation of the whole West Kowloon Cultural District.
To abandon what has been decided before and to start anew was a very wise decision.
In the next 3 months, we'll talk to the public and promote WKCD.
Remain intact or still operating in Hong Kong 10 or 20 years down the road.
As Chief Secretary for Administration, Henry Tang was responsible for relaunching the West Kowloon project. This time, he tried to do a thorough public consultation.
Unless I do that exercise carefully and meticulously, I would not be able to achieve the two goals I set for the West Kowloon Cultural District. Because I wanted to build a brand, and I wanted to use that time to rid ourselves of the previous negative image. At the end of the consultation period, the public was very, very supportive of our final decision to choose that design. And secondly, nobody accuses us of being in bed with any one developer anymore.
These consultation would first of all serve as a kind of education. At least they arouse the public's attention towards this very important piece of land, as well as very important development of Hong Kong.
Banners opposing a proposed hotel proliferate this neighborhood. Tanya Chan is now a directly elected legislator. Residents here are worried a new hotel would mar their living environment. Tanya says consultations might be time-consuming, but they do pick up many ideas, be they over a neighborhood project or the West Kowloon Cultural District.
That's the only way that we can express our views. It's a statutory requirement. The delay, I definitely believe that is caused by the construction of the express rail.
The high-speed rail terminus is right next to us. They borrowed our land where the M+ is now as a corridor and the barging points in order to take out the excavation material from the ground. They have been delayed by 2 years. So therefore, that delayed our program for M+.
Since 2009, the West Kowloon Cultural Authority has held hundreds of consultation forums, more than 3 exhibitions, and various opinion polls to collect public views.
I consider the exercise a success. We display all the 3 final contestants in the international competition in multiple districts. Many people came because out of curiosity and out of interest, and that's good because that is part of the brand building exercise of West Kowloon.
The government can't ignore public opinion, otherwise it can't carry out policies. We really need political talents. It's not that easy. The future West Kowloon Cultural District is already a landmark. I think Hong Kong people also have to support it. It's not simply having people acting and dancing. It's not that simple.
In recent years, social conflicts over development projects have become more prevalent.
Those who have any objections will have the channel to air their views. But sorry, you are in a small minority, and that we cannot address all the needs of everybody in Hong Kong.
People will have less and less confidence in this consultation, and people will getting more and more frustrated.
More on that after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Pearl Report. West Kowloon Cultural District, Queen's Pier, Central Wan Chai Bypass, Northeast New Territories Development Plan, the Hong Kong Mainland High-Speed Rail Link, and the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. Each of these projects face strong resistance, with judicial reviews, seizures, all manner of opposition, but for the same reason, government's neglect of public opinion. The public wants a role in consultation. The government wants faster development. How to reconcile the two? Eddie Chu met Cheung Kwai Choi at a demonstration against a plan to develop Northeast New Territories. Cheung Kwai Choi was born and bred in Ping Chair. In 2012, at a convocation of residents of a nearby village, Cheung heard about a government plan to develop his own village. Incensed, he led a defense of Ping Chair, forcing the government to suspend its plan.
It used to have fish ponds with fields nearby. We pumped the fish pond to irrigate the fields because the water contains fertilizers.
Cheung started an aquaponics farm recently as a means of letting more people know the value of preserving Northeast New Territories.
Land is sold to private developers, not to build public housing for us, but luxury housing on our land.
The residents were not given information or even notice of what's actually happening. If that is a project that will affect fundamentally their livelihood, why didn't they be given a chance to decide?
The Northeast New Territories Development Plan originally included North Kwu Tung, North Fan Ling, Ta Kwu Ling, and Ping Chair. Research for the plan started in the early 1990s. Tung Chi Hua proposed it in 1998.
Providing a stable land supply and a high-quality living environment.
But the 1998 Asia financial crisis burst Hong Kong's property bubble, and the government reduced housing supply. The Northeast New Territories Plan was suspended in 2003. It was revived in 2007.
The consultation started in 2007-2008. That was the first phase consultation. But most of the residents in Ping Chair got notice of this project in 2012. That was during the third phase of the consultation. The reason behind this gap of information was due to perhaps miscommunication between rural heads and residents. The rural heads think that they can be the representative of all residents. Unfortunately, they voice out their concerns strongly.
Such scenes intensified amid increasing tension between people for and against the plan.
I will increase the ratio of public housing to over 50% for sure.
The government compromised, but protesters stepped up their action.
It is a battlefield for residents to preserve their household or to preserve at least the quality of of their lives to preserve a sustainable future for the new territories.
I think it is important to strike that balance between development and participation. And those who are opposed have to respect the system, that you have gone through all the proper consultation channels. This government embarked on a very ambitious housing building program. There's a strong demand and shortage of housing in Hong Kong. So I think it is the right thing to do.
I don't think we can stop any particular development. What we are doing is to try to gather more people to rethink how Hong Kong can be developed in a better way. The core of it is how do we distribute housing resources and land resources. The government continues to sell our land resources to private developers that at the end build apartments that no one in Hong Kong can afford. So it is about how we can allocate land resources, public money in a more fair way.
20 years after the handover, gone are the days when the colonial government had the final say. Besides Northeast New Territories, controversies plague other land development and infrastructural projects.
As a mature and civic society, I think communities must grow, economy must expand, we will create more jobs, and also social mobility. So without development, you will have none of those.
Hong Kong, we don't have a democratic decision process. So when we talk about consultation, normally it will become a process that the government use to settle down local interest party, but not to give a real chance for the general public to decide.
Eddie Chu has become the king of votes in Legco. The public started knowing him 10 years ago in front of City Hall. It was part of the sea then. At the end of 2006, the government decided to demolish Central Star Ferry Pier to make way for the Central Wan Chai bypass. Before the government dismantled the clock tower, Eddie Chu and fellow conservationists staged a hunger strike in protest. It precipitated waves of collective memories and localism sentiments. Half a year later, the government wanted to knock down Queen's Pier nearby. Conservationists proposed a piece-by-piece relocation plan of the pier, but the idea was rejected by the government.
We had our own engineer and architects team to negotiate and discuss with government professionals, including example of historical building preservation. What we can see right here, right now, is a total wipe out of what we had.
There was public consultation on the demolition of Queen's Pier. 5 years before tearing it down, the government asked the Central Western District Council. It backed the demolition proposal.
I believe a civic society and a responsible citizen should respect the system, that if a system have the channels for you to air your views and to express your objection, you must not resolve by illegal means. Anything that is illegal will be punished by society and by the law. I don't think it is healthy and rational for you to only voice your view and then close your ears to all the other views.
I think by and large, people of Hong Kong are pragmatic. I don't think everyone in Hong Kong have taken sides.
本人陳智思謹對全能天主宣誓，本人就任。
Bernard Chan said the Star Ferry and Queen's Pier sagas show the shortcomings of traditional consultation procedures.
In the past, I would say only a very small group of people basically decide most things for us. But increasingly now, people at large have a voice. And usually they don't come forward until the things start to happen. Traditionally, we engaged the stakeholders, but now you have a much bigger audience who certainly have the right to voice their objections. So how do you cater to them?
The Star Ferry and Queen's Pier controversies sparked a conservationist trend that Bernard Chan says put semi-official bodies such as the Town Planning Board and the Antiquities Advisory Board under huge political pressure. They had to make adjustments.
We tend to be now being seen in the public as a public gatekeeper. So we need to find a way to engage them. But at the same time, we got to make sure that the decision still at the end stays in the board, stay in the committee.
The whole land administration and town planning decisions have been out of touch of the general public. We don't have any power to decide whether a piece of land should be sold to private sector or should be used for public housing. All members of town planning board are appointed by the chief executive. The whole institution in relation to land administration and town planning is totally under control of the government.
One conflict followed another, obstructing development plans time and again. Bernard Chan attributed this to the government's lack of a social mandate.
If everyone continues to speak on their own terms, the civil servant, listen, they're the one who's going to be actually the one who's going to execute it. And you're making their lives difficult, and so end up they probably just decide not to do anything. Because status quo perhaps is the easiest solution, but that would be disaster for Hong Kong.
People will have less and less confidence in this consultation. And people were getting more and more frustrated because their genuine opinion is not fully reflected throughout this public engagement exercise. The government cannot build trust by its own self, but at least I hope that the government will show their sincerity by, for example, improving the consultation platform, truly respect the opinions of the public.
What we need to democratize is the decision-making process of the town planning board, the legislative council, and the administrative branch. So if we have that, make our decision more informed and more open.
Everyone needs to have give and take in order to make it work. I think that message needs to get through. Otherwise, it's very difficult to build that consensus.
Disparate opinions prevail on what constitutes real consultation. One view is, to engage more people in the process, you must have a democratic political system. Next week, we'll start from this ballot that we waited 20 years for. Until then, from the Pearl Report team, good night, good luck, and good health.